Rip Van Winkle. This is a story adapted from the work of Washington Erving. This story is about Rip Van Winkle, a good natured but lazy man who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. When he awakens 20 years later, Rip finds that quite a few things have changed. So students, this is a story of Rip Van Winkle, the person who was very good natured but lazy man. One day he went into the hills and falls asleep, and he awakens after 20 years. How can it happen that a person can sleep for 20 years? Let us find out from the story. The story goes like this. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains, was a little village. In the village lived a simple, good-natured fellow named Rip Van Winkle. This is a story of many years ago. At the foothill of Catskill Mountain there was a little village. In that village Rip Van Winkle lived. He was very good-natured fellow. He was very simple and a kind neighbor also. He was a great helper. He helped anyone and everyone. And everyone in the village liked him. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him, because he played with them. He taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles and told them long stories. So, we found that Rip Van Winkle was a great man who was very simple but kind-hearted. He was a great helper also, and he was very popular among children also because he used to teach them flying kites and shooting marbles. Also, he told them long stories. Everybody in the village, maybe the elder or the children, liked Rip Van Winkle. The only problem with Rip was that he was very lazy. The problem or the weakness we can say of Rip was that he was very lazy. He did not work on his own farm and just idled away his time. He did not want to work. He did not like to work. He was having a farm, but he idled away his time. Idled means not using judiciously. So he just killed his time and not doing any useful work. His fences were falling to pieces. His cow was going astray. Weeds grew on his farm. Rip's constant companion was his dog named Wolf. It means that his farm was in a miserable condition. His fences was going to pieces and his cow was going astray. Weeds also grew in his farm, but Rip was least bothered about his farm. He don't do any work in his farm. His constant companion was his dog. He was having a dog whose name was Wolf, and the dog was his constant companion, means all-time companion, all-time friend. To avoid work, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. So, as he was very lazy. So to avoid work doing in his farm, he would walk away into the forest with his dog. He just took his dog and go to the forest so that he should not do any work in the farm. One day, Rip just walked on and reached the highest part of the mountains. It was late in the afternoon when he reached there. One day, while walking, he walked on and on. He just climbed up the mountain and reached up to the highest part of the mountains. And after reaching there, he found that it is late afternoon. So he was tired also. That is why, tired after his long climb, he lay down and began daydreaming. He just laid down under a tree over there and started daydreaming. It was soon evening, and he realized it would be night by the time he reached his village. Now it is the time of evening, and now he thought that if I go back to the village, it will be night by the time. So what does he decided? Let's see further. Yes, look at the person whose name is Rip Van Winkle. Student, this is Rip Van Winkle, and children are very happy to go play with them. This is his constant companion dog named Wolf. Suddenly, he heard a voice calling out, "Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle." He looked around and saw a short, old man with thick hair and a grizzled beard walking towards him with a barrel. When he was thinking that either I should go to the village or not, suddenly he heard a voice calling out, "Rip Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle." And he looked around to see who is calling him, and he saw a short old man with thick hair and grizzled. Grizzled means grey. So a short old man with thick hair and grey beard calling him. He was walking towards him with a barrel. Barrel is a wooden drum in which liquid has stored. Rip hurried to help the stranger, who caught his hand tightly. Rip, who was a great helper, he always ready to help others, he just hurried. Rip hurried to help the stranger, who caught his hand tightly. Together, they reached a place where there were some more odd-looking men playing ninepins. Rip helped the old man, and they both reached a place where some more odd-looking old short men were playing ninepins. They were all dressed the same way, and all of them had beards of various shapes and colors. All these old men were very odd looking. They were dressed in the same way, and their beards are also of different shapes and colors. Even though they were playing a game, their faces were serious and there was silence. So, students, when Rip and that old man with barrel reached the place where more odd-looking men with colored and different shaped beards were playing ninepins, the strange thing that Rip found that all these men, although they were playing, but still their faces was very serious. They were very serious, and there was a silence. The only sound of noise of the balls which echoed in the mountain like thunder. The sound which he heard over there was only the sound of balls, the sound of that game. And the sound also echoed in the mountain like thunder. That means the sound of the balls was very high. As Rip and his companion reached them, they stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. And when Rip and his companion, that is his dog named Wolf, reached there, they all stopped playing and stared at Rip with a fixed gaze. They were staring at Rip in surprise. Rip was really frightened. His companion emptied the content of the barrel into glasses and made Rip. When they reached there, the old man emptied the liquid that was in the barrel into the glasses and gave that drink to the Rip to drink it. Rip obeyed as he was trembling with fear. Rip do not deny to have the drink because he was trembling with fear. He was very much frightened, so he just obeyed whatever was told. That is, when the old man offered the drink, he just took it and drank it. Since he was thirsty, he drank a few more glasses and slowly fell into a deep sleep. As he was very thirsty, so he drank some more glasses of drink and then he fell into a deep sleep. He was fast asleep. On waking up, he found that he was at the place where he had first met the old man. He rubbed his eyes. It was a great sunny morning. Surely I have not slept here all night, thought Rip. And when he got up in the morning, it was bright sunny morning. And he rubbed his eyes and he thought, surely I have not slept here all night. He just thought that I may not have slept here the all night. He looked around for Wolf, but he was nowhere. Rip whistled for him. Wolf! Wolf! He then shouted. No dog was to be seen. Where has this dog gone? He muttered to himself. He began to descend the mountain to go back to the village. After waking up, Rip was searching for his dog, the wolf. He whistled for him. He then shouted the name of the dog, that is, Wolf, Wolf. But the dog was seen nowhere. There was no dog. Where does he gone? And he muttered to himself, where has this dog gone? And then after searching for some time, he started going back to his village. He was descending from the mountain so that he could reach his village. Students, here in the picture you can see the 9-pin game that those strange looking people were playing. This is the picture of Rip Van Winkle when he got up and he found bright sunny morning but no dog, no companion. As he neared the village, he met a number of people but he didn't know any of them. The villagers also stared at him, equally surprised. "Who is this man?" said one. "I have never seen him before," said another. "Look at his long white beard and his wrinkled face." When Rip Van Winkle came back to his village, he met many people on the way, but it was surprising that he knew no one of those people, and the people also watching him in surprise. They don't know who the person is. That is why they are asking, "Who is this man? I have never seen before. Look at he is having long white beard and wrinkled face." On hearing this, Rip stroked his chin, and to his astonishment, he found his beard had grown a foot long and it was all white. When he heard a person saying that, "Look at his white beard and wrinkled face," then he just stroked his chin and he found that he was having a 1 foot long beard and the beard was white. Seeing this, he was very surprised. An old woman walked up to him and looked at his face. For a moment, then she exclaimed, "It is Rip Van Winkle! Welcome home again, old neighbor. Where have you been these 20 years? And then an old woman came to him. He just saw him carefully and said, "Oh, you are Rip Van Winkle. Welcome to the home again. You are my old neighbor. Where were you been these long 20 years?" So, it means that Rip Van Winkle came to the village after 20 years and he don't know where he was for 20 years. Was he just sleeping for 20 years? This was the mystery and this was the story. So, I hope you have enjoyed the story. Thank you.